Once upon a time, in a kingdom far, far away, there lived a king who had a beautiful daughter. The king loved his daughter very much, and so did the people of the kingdom. They all lived together in peace and prosperity. But one day, a terrible drought struck the kingdom. There was no rain for many months, and the crops began to wither and die. People started to get very sick from not having enough food to eat. The king became desperate to save his people. He offered his daughter's hand in marriage to the man who would bring rain to the kingdom. Not far away, there lived a poor woodcutter who was very sad because he had no money to buy food for his family. When he heard about the king's offer, he thought to himself, "I don't have anything to lose. Perhaps I can save my family by marrying the king's daughter." So he went to the castle and told the king that he could bring rain to the kingdom if he married the princess. The king was overjoyed and immediately agreed. The wedding took place the following day, and the king gave the woodcutter half of the kingdom as his bride price. Now, this is important. The king gave him half of the kingdom, but he also warned the woodcutter, "If you ever try to take more than what is rightfully yours, you will be thrown out of the kingdom without your head." After the ceremony, the woodcutter went to a clearing in the forest to build his new house. But when the other woodcutters saw that he was using expensive materials and hiring servants, they became very angry. They confronted him and said, "You're just a poor woodcutter. Why are you acting like a prince?" The woodcutter replied, "I am a prince. I married the king's daughter, and he gave me half of the kingdom." The other woodcutters didn't believe him, so they went to the king and told him what they had seen. The king was furious and ordered the woodcutter to be brought before him. When the woodcutter told the king that he was using his own materials to build his house, the king was satisfied and let him continue. But then the other woodcutters came and told the king that the woodcutter was arrogant and boasting that he was half the king. The king got angry again and shouted, "You stupid woodcutter! I gave you half of the kingdom as your bride price, not as a salary. If you want to keep boasting about being half the king, then you can keep the other half and be my co-ruler." The woodcutter was so happy that he got everything he asked for, and so he continued to boast that he was half the king. But after a while, he started to feel bad because the people of the kingdom were suffering under his poor leadership. He missed his old life and decided to go back to being a simple woodcutter. He went to the king and asked to return the other half of the kingdom. The king was very surprised, but he was happy to have his daughter back. He welcomed them both back into the kingdom, and everyone lived happily ever after. The end. Now, what do you think the moral of the story is? As much as we may want something, it is not always good to boast or brag about it. This story teaches us the importance of being content with what we have and not being greedy. It also teaches us that it is important to be humble and not to boast or brag about our accomplishments or possessions.